Hello, my dears. My name is Joanna, and I welcome you to Johanna Draconis, the Deconstruction of C-PTSD podcast. In this episode, we will talk about the question why we cry so much, especially during our healing process, and why crying is a good thing. It is an important part for getting better, but often quite confusing. So let us talk about it. I know that crying is not popular, because who wants to cry or be sad? Often accompanied by this feeling of misery. So I think most of us remember at least one time when we felt significantly better after we had a good cry. There is, of course, some opinions about who can and can't cry, and those are absolute nonsense. Crying is an important part of a healthy human being and mental health, and also very important for bonding with other people. There is a great video from Cinema Vince regarding the usefulness of sadness titled Lessons Animation Taught Us Inside Out, a movie I can only recommend, especially for a basic understanding how the brain works, and the link will be in the description. Sadly, I also have to advise for caution in regards where and in front of who you cry, as it can lead to harmful consequences, which will hopefully soon be a thing of the past. We first start talking about why do we cry, and then how it helps our healing process. To answer why we cry, we first need to narrow it down a bit. The crying of anger, grief, frustration, relief, and pain are the ones we focus on. Like I said before, the crying serves a lot of functions, but these are the main ones we use for recovery. These are pretty simple for our situation in its purpose. It is to express to others, and ourselves sometimes, the severity of our emotions and works as an overflow mechanism to prevent the whole system being flooded. The problem sometimes is that we can cry in the moment we want to, and then we kind of swallow the tears. This leads to the tears, so to speak, being stored in barrels inside of you, and if you don't empty them later on, they likely become a burden. So if we wallow too much in sadness and crying, we get overwhelmed. So we cannot empty the whole storage of tears in one go, if we have a significant amount stored, which we usually do if we start feeling this inner heaviness. Then there is the other crying, where you just let it out. I'm not sure which emotion to describe it with. The one where it just flows? That is the best cry, the one of healing. You usually will feel better after it, after letting it all out. This sort of crying flushes out all the residue and bad things, and if you do it regularly, it really helps you, as long as you don't surrender to it. It is also crucial for our healing process. It helps the healing process in mainly two ways: to deal with all the emotions, frustrations, etc. we experience during the healing process, and, of course, helps us deal with the past, in many ways and sometimes in very surprising ones. Going through the healing process usually is an enormously frustrating, emotionally loaded and hurtful experience. There's only so much a person can shoulder, even the strongest among us, before they collapse. Taking good care of yourself is absolutely vital for the healing process. By slowing down and having a cry to let out all the emotions, we lessen the pressure of it all. That is why taking it slow and taking breaks is so important. But it also means not being stuck in self-pity. If you notice you are stuck, it's best to put it aside and pick it up at a later point, which of course also applies for things from the past. If the way is blocked, it usually helps to look around for an alternative. Usually crying is the final step in the trigger removal, but often also used along the way. I said that crying flushes out past residue. That includes trigger, traumatic experiences, and also people, if they are small enough for it, so to speak. I also said that one of the biggest and most important revelations was that trauma isn't one thing, but made out of smaller things, which is the key to removing it fully, breaking away parts until there is nothing left. That is why I say crying is a crucial part of the healing process, even though I dislike it as much as anyone else. But for the pain to disappear, we need to cry. But it's also important not to get lost in the sadness or tears. The goal is happiness after all. That was it for today's episode. I hope you found it helpful. Hope you are safe and well. And, as always, if you have any questions or feedback and the like, please let me know at contactme@johannatakonis.com. More information and transcript you can find, as usually, under johannatakonis.com/podcast/ and links are in the description. I hope to see you next time. Wash yourselves and have a wonderful time.